All right, how's everyone doing? I was thinking to myself, I'm very envious of people that do not have a lot of instruments. By that I mean, I'm really, really envious of people who have few guitars or few cellos and things of that nature. Because I actually subscribe and think that you would probably end up being a better player if you didn't have a lot of instruments. Um, you know, I kind of think about it and why like we have gas, right? Everybody knows that, and I certainly I'm guilty of it. I've got way too many guitars. I'm only one person. That whole saying is like, hey, you can only sleep in one bed, you can only drive one car, and things of that nature. But from a musical standpoint, I look at the people I kind of look at my idol. I mean, I don't know how many horns Miles Davis had. I don't know how many guitars that Wes Montgomery had. Things of that nature. And unless you are a studio musician, which I'm not, um, I don't know why I have all these guitars other than the fact that they're just beautiful. But I started thinking about, okay, what are the benefits of having few guitars? I believe that the biggest benefit of having few guitars would be you would actually learn the physical nature of the instrument. By that I mean, one of the challenges that I have is that I have so many guitars that they're all different shapes, nut width, like this thing that I just got. I love it to death, but it's a big, big, big guitar. And I know I can kill it and I can learn to play it like I was breathing if this was the only guitar that I played. So it's hard to come from this and then go to a parlor and then go to a classical, go to a tele, then go to you get the drift, right? So I think most of my improvements occurred when I had fewer guitars. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop buying guitars as long as I have some money, jobs, and things of that nature. But I believe that the best things that you can get out of few guitars, and that's the instrument I want to talk about, is really learning the physical nature of the instrument. Like, this is a sweet guitar, and just learning the width of the body and learning to control it and things of that nature. And then on top of that, just kind of learning the scale in it of itself. I'm talking about the scale length of the guitar. And every guitar and every instrument has its sweet spot. I have one cello, and I'm not as good on the cello as I am on the guitar, but I believe that's just based upon the number of years or lack thereof that I've been playing. And yeah, so you learn the physical nature of the instrument. So that's one thing. The other thing is you're more focused. So it's hard to be hopping from guitars to guitar or be in search of other guitars. Or what's your next purchase? What's the next thing? It's great and it's fun, and we use this gas as an escapism. But the reality of it is that if you look at classical musicians, I lived next door for about 10, 12 years next to a classical cellist, and he had two instruments. And this guy played with Boston Pops. He played other gigs, and he was obviously an excellent a musician. So there was no need for anything else, just two instruments. That's it. That's it. So you're much, much more focused, and the music takes precedence, not the search for another guitar, picking it up, and things of that nature. So you've got the fact that you'd learn the physical nature of the instrument itself. You'd be more focused, and the third thing is you'd practice more. you really would practice more, because if they told you, if they banned me from looking at Craigslist, Reverb.com, or eBay, or just going to music stores, what else would I do? I would practice more. I would learn more repertoire. I would learn to get as much out of the instrument that I had as possible. And that's what I did growing up. So you gotta be careful with that. And, I don't own a music store, so it's not like I'm trying to say to people don't buy instruments, because they're fun, right? So despite all of this stuff, why do we continue to buy all this guitars? I mean, I think sometimes the first one is, I think I personally, I can only speak for myself. I play mind games with myself. The sound word always comes to me, which is like, oh, I want to get a different sound out of this. So I got this Telly, and the Telly has like maple, maple fingerboard, and I want a rosewood because I'm going to get a warmer sound. Eh, that's not really true. I know for myself, most of my guitars, I dial them in the same way. I think it was a friend of mine who told me went to a Robert Cray concert, and Robert Cray had like, I don't know, 8 Stratocasters, a blue one, a green one, a yellow one. None of them were even tuned in a different tuning, and he just had them to have them, and then he would just swap one for another like that. So, this whole notion of a different sound, yeah, yeah, that's your psychology working up. I say that all the time, and most of my guitars, I dial them in the exact same way, put Damastic flat wounds in there, throw them into a Henriksen or my Melkman amp, and they kind of sound the same, even though I'm trying to say, hey, does this one sound better versus the other one? So the next one, that's actually good for me. So you got different sound, whether you believe it or not. The other reason that some people are buying all these instruments, like myself, is different physical feel. Some people get bored. You get bored with owning like a steel string, or owning one arch top, a 16-inch, and things like that. You want a different physical feel of the instrument, because you're looking for inspiration. Okay, and I think that's really the third and the most important thing about why we think that if we acquire this instrument and it's new, that it's going to inspire us to play more. It's going to inspire us to practice more. It's going to inspire us just to get better sounds out of that stuff. And actually, we think it's going to help us improve. It doesn't always work that way, because it's almost like a drug. You're on to the next one to get that. So, things are like that. And then another one reason why people are acquiring instruments, specifically guitars, is the whole not getting as much tone out of what I have right now. Maybe you're not getting as much tone out of it because you didn't practice it enough. You haven't really learned how to play. An instrument is not going to teach you how to play. It's going to facilitate the process. Okay? Most guitar players that are really, really good, I bet you, even if you go talk to people like Tom Bukovic and all these guys who are like studio musicians, most of them come from humble beginnings. And they were shredding it up or doing whatever when they were 15, 16 years old, off of that one Strat, off that one Les Paul, off of, a one 335 or a Guild, whatever it was. So most of that accumulation occurred after they got good. It didn't help them get better. And there are stories where people talk about that magical, greenie that they bought, that's just, it opened up the Pandora's box of creativity for them. But for the most part, be careful about the acquisition. Still continue to practice, 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 and still acquire them if they make you feel good. Okay? Thank you again for watching, and let me go and practice, practice, and practice some more. All right.